Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker makes perfect sense to me as the last movie in the saga. Firstly, the biggest gripe with the movie has been that Palpatine is back. That makes sense to me because Palpatine was always pulling the strings in the other movies. He was always there in order to create the Empire and rule the galaxy. That was always his plan. And when his plan failed, why would he just go away? There's obviously some sort of way that he should be able to come back, because if he's not there, it's not really Star Wars without Palpatine. I don't know why I didn't think of it before, but now that he's back, it makes sense again. Palpatine needed to be pulling the strings in the movie, or else who's really there? It's always been about the Sith. We didn't know it at the time, but Palpatine has always been the Sith trying to undermine the Jedi and rule the galaxy again. Just like in Revenge of the Sith when he said, once more the Sith will rule the galaxy and we will have peace. That is Palpatine's plan. He wants to rule the galaxy for the Sith. It makes sense that Palpatine is there with all of the Sith, again, even after he started ruling the galaxy again. Palpatine, of course, has to come back and continue his attempt to rule the galaxy as the Sith. Rey being a Palpatine works well in the overarching story of the saga. The saga starts with Palpatine creating Anakin. Palpatine creates the Force that is in the Skywalker line. So the saga starts with a Palpatine and a Skywalker, and it ends with a Palpatine and a Skywalker. It makes sense, because Rey is the Palpatine and Ben Solo is the Skywalker, whereas at the beginning it's Chief Palpatine and Anakin Skywalker. So the way they all come together, Rey is there to be the bridge between the Palpatines from the beginning before the Force in the Skywalker family to being the Palpatine there at the end of the Skywalkers having the Force. It is the Skywalker saga because the Skywalkers existed only during the time of the Skywalker saga. Of course, there's people who are Shmi's parents, but the Force wasn't in the Skywalker family until Palpatine created it. So it is the Skywalker saga for the sole reason of the Skywalker family exists through the end of the saga. Then it's not the Skywalker family anymore. Rey takes the last name Skywalker, but she's not really part of that bloodline. She just takes the name, which I'm okay with. I like that. But still, the Skywalker saga is about Anakin Skywalker and his descendants end at Ben Solo. And that is where it ends. And the Palpatine line is lived through before Anakin was alive and after Ben Solo was alive. So the Palpatine living makes sense because of the whole Palpatine's timeline is here while the Skywalker timeline is inside of it, which allows for it to be the Skywalker saga still and end with the Skywalkers not alive because, as I've already said, the Skywalkers were created by the Palpatines. Furthering the theme established in The Last Jedi of you don't need to come from somewhere to do good in the galaxy, Rey doesn't just come from nowhere. She comes from somewhere and is expected to do something, but she does differently than what's expected, which builds upon the theme instead of coming from nowhere, which is still an active theme in the movie, The Rise of Skywalker, but the theme of coming from somewhere and defying your destiny is what Rey is about. All of the other rebel pilots, resistance pilots, all the people in the galaxy carry on the theme of you don't need to come from somewhere to do good. Poe is the character that comes from nowhere and does good. My favorite line from the movie is definitely "they're people." When the Sith officers were talking and he said, "Where did they get this massive navy from?" And the other guy just said, "They're just people." Star Wars is about just people doing things, while the Skywalker family is doing their own thing, ruling the galaxy because Palpatine's wanting them to rule the galaxy. The movie makes sense to me because Palpatine was there at the beginning, he had to be there at the end, And Palpatine was always there so the Sith would rule the galaxy. His plan failed, and that is why the Rise of Skywalker makes perfect sense. The Skywalker saga was always about Palpatine trying to return the galaxy to the Sith by manipulating the Skywalker family.